Walter had a fixed smile of his own. The new place is 2 blocks away from the one you already approved.
We must set our limits somewhere, Mr. Lucas. May I point out also that your situation has changed. When you applied, you were living with another student, one whose graduation date was supposed to be this coming December.
Of course, she would hone in on his one little white lie, their attempt to use Hope's own system against them. Kara, as a 5th-year senior, was practically a shoo-in for off-campus digs, especially since she was engaged. With her on the application as a mid-semester graduate, their request had sailed easily through. Except Kara never intended to stay that long, and as soon as the ink was dry on Hope's approval of their living arrangements, she immediately signed up for summer classes and August graduation. It was sleight of hand no one would have paid attention to until it was too late, except the idiot landlord had stopped paying his bills and busted their plan wide open. Walter tried to dust this detail under the rug as delicately as possible. She managed to finish early so she could take an internship back in Chicago. That's not my fault either.
Be that as it may, the fact remains you're asking to move farther away than your last year's accommodations, alone and at the last minute. Surely you see the difficulty you place us in. If we allow you to do this, we'll be flooded with requests to let others do the same.
They were flooded with requests to live off campus because Hope was the only place Walter had ever heard of that didn't let students choose their own places of residence. It was drop-dead insane, but voicing this opinion wouldn't help his case just now.
It's important we foster the Hope community, the dean went on. Our students and their parents expect us to provide a safe learning environment for those attending Hope. How can we do that if they're scattered across town? Young people don't always make the best decisions for themselves. We're taking away an opportunity to fail on that score.
I'm perfectly capable of making decisions about where I live, Walter replied, and as far as my parents go, I'm better suited to make decisions for them, too. He hated the way her expression turned to pity.
Yes, I'm well aware. Don't you see, though, that this is even more an argument to let us take care of you for a change? How can you argue that having to pay rent, utilities, and shop for your own meals is an advantage? Why do you need anything else to worry about?
I've earned the right to make those decisions for myself. I'm not some wide-eyed freshman. I'm not even a typical junior. Dean Stevens, you know my situation. For the first time in the exchange, her smile cracked and some of the mask fell away. Unfortunately, there wasn't a reprieve behind it, just another wall.
I do know, and I'm sorry, Walter. I can't let you live off campus. Even if I wanted to, which I don't, it isn't my decision. The Board of Regents said no. We can discuss it as long as you like, but I'm telling you as one who has been with you through this entire rocky ride, it isn't going to change. We gave you a pass because you were struggling and because you were living with your friend. Living alone is not a good idea for you.
Walter slumped in his chair. So where are you sticking me? Because I know for a fact you can't get me in the Manors with the other upperclassmen. Stevens lifted a piece of paper and propped half-moon glasses on the end of her nose.
Actually, I could. Ethan Miller's roommate ended up as a transfer.
Ethan Miller? Images of waking to a horny, desperate geek in a room full of science experiments filled Walter's mind. He glared at her. Try again. Pursing her lips, she scanned the paper further.
I have a handful of other spaces available. Unfortunately, they're all in underclassmen housing and all in one dorm. Porter.
Porter. Anger, shock, and a little fear swamped Walter as he sat up as if a cattle prod had been applied to the base of his spine. You can't be serious. You have 4 underclassmen communist block buildings. You can't tell me the only openings are in Porter House.
Porter never fills, as you well know, though this year we've come far too close for comfort. Next year won't be an issue with the new dorm's construction. For now, however, it's Porter or rooming with Ethan Miller.
What lovely options. Walter tried to marshal himself, but it wasn't easy.